Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into this episode of the In Between the Limes podcast. Before we start this episode, I did just want to give you guys a quick channel update about what's going on moving forward. This is going to be the first episode in a series on here where we discuss different topics and things that interest me, and I'm going to be talking about it with different guests. Beyond that, I do have some videos in the works that I'm hoping to get out sometime in the future, so I hope you're looking forward to those. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this episode. My skills as a podcaster are still pretty new and nothing special, so I know with every new episode, I'm probably going to get a little bit better. So I hope it's still enjoyable for you, though, and thanks for listening. See you. Welcome, everyone, to the In Between the Limes podcast. I am your host, Steven Voss, and I am here today with my guest host, Mr. Dylan, aka DP.
Hello.
So today, the topic at hand is going to be focused on world building. This podcast is going to be focusing on different topics each episode, and today I wanted to focus specifically on world building. Me and Dylan have talked it through, and we've decided to kind of create a world in this episode and kind of relate it to other franchises and things we like. I think we're going to start with just making the world itself. Did you have anything specifically in mind, Dylan, that you wanted to have for this?
I guess really before anything starts, I was kind of wondering a bit what type of world we were making because there's a lot of ways you can approach this.
Are you talking
Uh,
like fantasy, sci-fi? Like, is that you mean more
yeah, 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 kind
genre-based?
of general feel like that. Do you want to do just classic, like even spherical planet out in space somewhere, or do you want to do like even something more out there, like Discworld bullshit with flying turtles and giant elephants? Do you know Discworld?
I swear I've seen some image online of like
Yeah,
an elephant with a or
just
some.
literally Google Discworld and you'll see that's it. Just Google it right now.
It's
I
yeah,
can send you the picture. Hang
it's
on,
like a
yeah, but
world turtle, isn't it? Like
I'm
Discworld.
saying here.
I gotta
I
see
sent it to you
this.
right now.
Oh yeah,
You're gonna laugh.
looks like
You're
something out
gonna...
of like an Animorphs book or something, like some weird thing, you know,
exactly what I mean, though. Like they
something
don't
more
have
far
to be.
fetched. Yeah.
Yeah. What
Um,
do you think about that?
I actually like more unique kind of worlds, so I think that's a cool idea.
All right, so let's settle on something that's just not a sphere planet. Then it doesn't even have to be in space. There could be something beyond its own borders, like that's not just empty vacuum.
Do you mean
Uh,
like so you said like flat world? Do you mean like that, or do you mean more like
an example of this is honestly something like Viking mythology. You know, like Middle World. I mean, Middle Earth is kind of that idea too, but the Middle World, where there's like several worlds above and several worlds below, but they're kind of like layers of reality, even
okay? So is it like different universes?
not universes. It's just like an alternative layer, like it's honestly easiest example is probably that Zelda game, the 2D one we both like.
Different dimensions? You mean? You're talking
Kinda
about a link between worlds.
alternate like Bizarro world
Okay,
almost,
I'm trying to envision
almost, but it's more instant.
yeah, I'm
Like
trying to envision
there's
like the
not
physical aspect of this. Like, is it
there.
like
That's the tricky part. There almost isn't any. It's just like an illusion or a form of belief. You're kind of there or you're not. Actually, in one book was kind of interesting. In Wizard Knight by Gene Wolfe, it was literally just below and above. The world above was in the sky and in the clouds. The world below, you had to just take certain like strange whirlpools, and then you'd swim beneath or walk beneath, and you'd be there.
are these like kind of like heaven and hell, kind of like different?
Actually, yeah, kind of. Interestingly, too, what I loved is that time would flow differently. It would get slower the lower you go. So if you went downwards and spent a lot of time there, or you spent like 3 seconds in a dimension below and then went upwards, it'd be 3 years.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of Maiden Abyss. You know how there's that curse that the lower you get, like the stronger it is, like and
Yeah,
kind of
it is. Yeah, it's separated height wise, verticality, which is interesting. That's what I mean by it doesn't have to be kind of limited to just like a planet.
yeah. I think it'd be cool though to have something like a some kind of force that changes as you like change the different elevation, maybe kind of like what you're saying with
So,
Like,
do we want to do a vertical thing? Just let's focus on verticality then.
yeah,
If
yeah,
you're
yeah.
interested
So let's have like a middle world, and then like, do you want just like a upper world, lower world, or
in vertical, we don't even have to do that. We don't even have to be married to that. But let's just think vertical shit.
okay?
Do we want to do sci-fi bullshit? Because I was thinking we could do Rama crap where it's like a ship out in space. But that's kind of
What is
hokey.
it?
That's been done a lot.
What is it?
Rendezvous with Rama and here.
I don't know what that
Uh,
is. Is
just-
it?
it,
Is it
it's just
sci-fi?
yeah, it's just a giant like colony ship that's a sphere, and the sun is like a spinning in the center.
Okay. Huh.
But if you just want to, I don't know. That's kind of hokey though. That's sci-fi, not really fantasy. Do you want to do that?
We can
I'm,
try sci-fi. I mean, I'm not too sure what to envision with that. Do you want to do more like Star Warsy kind of stuff,
eh,
or like more like Dune, where it's like, oh, it takes place on this one specific planet, but
this
there's
is
a
what it
lot of
looked like. I was rambling about that just because I was like talking about verticality, and I thought, hey, cylinders,
well,
got
what is going on?
verticality.
So there's like a giant like fan or something.
This is literally a fictional type of spaceship, but again, this might be kind of. Do we want to do sci-fi?
I'm down. Like we can do that. If you think it would be working better though, as like regular fantasy, we could always come back to that. But we can try and start with the sci-fi, and kind of build off of there and see what we want to do with that. Let's talk about like the actual world itself that we're like having this take place on. So we have the multiple layers of reality. So you can get between them somehow is what I envisioned. So is there like a specific way in any of like the things you've seen where people get through to different worlds? Is there like a tunnel, or is it like a some kind
Oh
of
yeah,
method
there was
of
one
travel?
cool thing actually. There was a volcano in Wizard Night that was it wasn't a volcano. It was actually just a mountain that went straight down into like three worlds below in the dragon hell basically. So there'd be
Okay.
smoke coming out of it, and people would be sacrificed and thrown into it like it was a volcano. And it kind of even looked like one from a distance, but it was literally just a straight downward climb into another dimension.
It was just like a kind of like a portal to a different world,
Hmm.
but more like
But it
a just
looked
like a
like a
tunnel.
volcano.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's like
and I
lava
thought that
and
was kind
stuff
of
in it.
awesome. You would go down, it would just be honestly, you're gonna hate this, but think like Elevator in Terraria.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, think
Yeah.
about ending up in the underworld. It's like that.
Okay, so you just have a big
And
tunnel and you
now
just
think
end up
about
there.
that. Now
Yeah, so
imagine
it's kind
this.
of like Journey to the Center of the Earth. Like you're just falling through some like cave and
Shit,
getting some new world.
shit, kinda, yeah. But check this out too. Time flows differently. Like you imagine you go down in hell for like 2 seconds, then you come up, like 3 years past. Like I said, it's
What
faster the lower you go too.
what's
So
the
it'd be
point
like
of
30
that?
years.
Like
If you
what
skipped 2 layers, it'd be 30 years. If you only went one, it'd be like 3 years.
Okay, so what would you want to do for like this world? Do you want to have that kind of time change, or do you think it would be interesting to have some kind of something else? I kind of like the idea with the like curse, where you get like something changes within
Sure, yeah.
your being,
Hey,
but you
we
get
could do mutations or something if you want to do sci-fi crap.
yeah, we could try that. Yeah, so there's a sci-fi world, the mid world, then there's the high world, and then the lower world. When you
You
travel
know,
between them, then you can like change. It changes how you like your being itself to get some kind of mutation.
you want to do some real sci-fi stuff? We could talk about like the literal edge of the universe. There was a really awesome picture where like we could go outside of light. There's like a big gap where light doesn't even reach.
It'd be cool if we did an idea where it was like humans have advanced and they want to see the edge of the universe, but when you get to the edge of the universe, like stuff gets starts getting corrupted and like messed up, and
Yeah, yeah.
maybe
Well,
there's some
that's kind of
like
what I mean. Like, there. I read in a book once. There was a line something or other that said like where even like time doesn't reach it.
yeah.
Like how the same way that the light off of a sun won't. And I thought that was a weird way of looking at it.
Yeah, maybe it could be some kind of like bizarro, like the physics of the world and universe kind of get changed when you're at this edge of the edge of the universe, and humans land on this planet, and there's like some kind of like weird phenomenon where you can enter like an alternate world by going through some kind of I don't know, kind of like a portal you were saying before. I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think of a
So
way to connect like an upper world and lower world kind of thing
I
to
think
this.
my guess would be if we're sticking with spaceship, we don't even have to do a spaceship. Honestly, you want to do like an asteroid?
Well, what do you mean by that?
I literally just mean a small dwarf planet that can somehow sustain life, maybe because of a weird
Oh,
mutation traveling through this area.
okay. So you're
This
saying
like
the people here are like born here, like they're from
they
this
no, I
place.
was thinking naturally born there.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you naturally like they grew up there, they evolved there. Like this
Oh
planet
yeah,
is
yeah.
like part
I'm
of like
thinking.
their
I,
identity.
I'm wondering as I'm saying this and like wording it out, a dwarf planet that originally couldn't support life, like maybe even like something like Pluto, somehow through some weird uh cosmic event got thrown off course and is traveling to the very edges of the universe where laws of physics are falling apart and weird events are causing people and life to sprout up in this dwarf planet.
Okay, so then the edge
And I
of
think
this
it's like a
universe,
cylinder.
edge of this
I'm thinking it's a
universe,
weird
yeah.
shape. Yeah.
People are starting to like. You're saying they're like, as a result of them being at the edge of the universe, that the life's starting to spread across it.
I think what's happening, it's traveling further and further away from the universe. One of the like constant mutations are happening. One of them is life propping up, like vegetation and people, and then like erosion, like mountains showing up, oceans showing up, and stuff on like a small scale because it's a dwarf planet still.
Yeah,
And then as these people are growing and like civilization is happening and stuff, maybe mutations and like magic starts occurring to them too as well, which it's a little hokey, but that could be something too.
yeah. I can envision like the whole plot of like or like
Said
the whole
hokey like
like
3 times, by
the
the
whole
way.
focus of the world is like it's moving towards the edge of the galaxy, and the closer it gets, the more weird and like magic and like messed up
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
So like
yeah,
as
yeah,
it's
yeah.
moving, but they don't know what's gonna happen once it leaves or once it hits the very edge of the universe. That
You know, yeah, I kind of want this to be like not even known to the people. They just think it's a normal planet, or they just think what they can growing up and coming up in this strange, like ever changing small planet.
yeah, and they just see new things propping up all the time, and they don't know why, and it's just kind of happening, and they're just all like, well, like trying to
All right, I'm gonna write
understand what's
some
going on,
comments.
like why is this happening, and then I think as it progresses, it might be getting like stranger and just having weirder things happen.
Traveling mutating dwarf planet.
It's a pretty crazy idea, I guess, but it's an
Hey, there we
interesting
go. We got to
sci-fi
start.
concept. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Let's not let's not be married to sci-fi. Even just think like general of a dwarf planet or any planet. What would you want on there? And use like the idea of space mutations as freedom to throw whatever you want in there.
do you think like the mutations? How did you kind of envision that? Do you think it's more like a genetically you like gain abilities because it's getting all messed up because the physics are just like damaging your DNA or some kind
Uh,
of
that'd be
like
the easy way to go.
some
Yeah.
scientific method of it, like kind of more like X-Men-y, or do you think it's more like
It's funny. That's literally how Shadowrun handles like dwarves, orcs, and elves coming back into the contemporary world. Is like a mutation occurs and they just start being born.
okay, interesting.
But I'm not sure if I'm married to that. I'm wondering if that's just like maybe the emergence of a magic system. If you
Yeah.
want to do that,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a magic system for this world. Like I think it has to kind of relate to the
you
like the
know,
mutant powers, that's gotta I feel like that would be more the abilities of this world that would be more
shit.
interesting.
I offered magic system, but I'm not even really married to the idea of a magic system because I kind of like the George R. R. Martin school of thought, where it's magic's more interesting the less you know about it, and the more dangerous it is because you don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Could you do
Honestly,
like not magic, but like I don't know, some kind of like science-based kind of ability?
yeah, quantum. Yeah, you can do quantum mechanic stuff probably. I remember, like, I did show you that study once about this. It's a little off topic, but basically, be uh, direct observation, like animals watching a robot, affected its random output, which was supposed to be just binary 50-50.
Wait, what was watching it?
Just it was basically a study about baby chicks being like imprinted on by a robot, and the robot's movement is supposed to be random, like completely arbitrary, but it was actually moving closer to the babies.
Interesting. I wonder what kind of
They were
causes that.
separated by a wall. They were separated by a wall. The theory is it's just the babies were watching them or imprinted on it, and quantum mechanics stuff, direct observation of anything affects it. It was very weird, but like
Yeah.
it got me thinking about just like the idea of observing is interacting.
Okay. So for this, like, not in magic really, but like this like abilities and stuff, or like, do you imagine like just physical like changes in creatures, kind of like they just come more deformed, or like is it more like, oh, they
I
get
was
this
thinking of like in that
ability?
same thought of just like thought manifesting itself. Like the idea of the same way those baby chicks were able to move the robot closer, like maybe it's just literally a point of willpower. Like a person literally thinks and they can fly. But again, I think that's just a little too loose and easy at the same time. But I think it'd be interesting if slowly implemented.
Yeah, you would have to probably come up with some like design around limits and like how it works in the sense
But
like it
that's
can be mysterious, but it also should have some kind of like this is how you do it, or like this is what it can do, you know? It has to have some kind of like limitation to it. I'm
see
trying to like
that. But
envision
then,
that.
isn't that kind of like contradictory? Or it's we're adding limits to something that's supposed to not have limits. It's
Well,
supposed to be
maybe
all
it could
power.
be like you don't know what the limits are. Like just keeps getting stronger, but you don't know what it is. And maybe that's a result
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
planet getting closer to the edge of the universe, and like
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. There are hard rules, just the rules keep changing.
the rules keep getting changed because of how the
That's
planet.
almost kind of lazy in a way, just because it justifies anything happening. Then
Yeah, I could see that, but I think it's interesting if you consider the world is moving towards this like unknown realm. Like things are getting like more dangerous with
oh,
every
so it's
day.
actually going somewhere. It's not just you think it leads to something. There is a method to the madness.
I'm envisioning this planet, or like, you said dwarf planet, like this small planet, as it's getting closer to the edge of the universe, that no one knows, like you, as you said, none of the people know that it's doing
Hmm.
that. They can see like because the stars are like maybe moving or something in a weird way. Well, I guess when you're on a planet, it's kind of hard to see like the stars actually shift around,
I'm
just because they're
wondering
so
if
far
maybe to
away.
their eyes, it's like it's a dying Earth situation where they think their planet's doomed,
Maybe there
but
could
it's
be like a
not. It's just
prophecy,
traveling.
like a prophecy kind of thing, where they're like,
There we go. Some sci-fi
it's going to
fantasy
get to the
stuff.
edge of the galaxy, and then when it gets there, like something's gonna happen and no one knows what, and like it's just like people are unsure of it. But then again, it could also just be like no one knows what's going on. So I think it'd be interesting though to have some kind of prophecy where they're like, people are gonna become so like mutated once we hit the edge of the universe that our people are just gonna die out or something, or maybe
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
maybe someone's gonna mutate to become some kind of like god figure or something. It could be
It's
something
funny
like
you
that.
mentioned this. There was a zombie game that almost did this. I know it's unrelated to everything, but it was very fascinating. Where part of it was the zombie virus was a thing sent from aliens,
Okay.
and but it mutates most people into zombies. But some people it improves and turns into like sentient, like teleporting interdimensional creatures that are scheming and have their own society
It's
and
kind of
like
like an
secretly let
experiment.
the zombies prosper and society collapse.
Yeah, so it's like an experiment kind of on humans to
It
see
was
like who reacts to what and like what
yeah, I
happens.
think so. It was I forget the name of this, but it was a great game, but not really related to fantasy. Kind of sci-fi. It was mostly a zombie game, but
I think you
it,
could make an interesting like if we
the
want to
final
go into more
station.
like
That was it. By the way,
what is it? Sorry.
the final station. You were a train conductor traveling across this dying zombie alien planet.
Okay. Interesting. I haven't even heard of that before.
Great game. I'd recommend it.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Mm.
My idea
Back
though
to
is so we could kind of make this more to like the religious aspect of the world. Like the people of this world are creating different religions based on what they think's going to happen once they hit the edge of the universe. I think that'd be kind of an interesting idea. Like this one like cult or something believes that the the mutations are going to become so advanced that people are going to become some kind of like god people, like, or like
Oh yeah.
some kind of like religion based on the idea that once we hit the edge of the universe, life might come to an end, and like we'll ascend to the upper world, as to tie it back to the old vertical idea we had. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some kind of like aspect of what's gonna happen, or like how the people would know that they're going towards the edge of the universe.
I guess you could argue the uncertainty is part of the reason why they're not sure or why there's strife and conflict in the place. Maybe different factions rise up because of different mutations.
Yeah, different mutations causing like different like abilities that they use to try and take over. Maybe like one faction thinks that this needs to
Ooh.
happen or else everyone's gonna die, or like maybe
I Yeah, and I just thought of something. How about physical mutations versus just like psionic magic stuff, where like people don't look like they change, but they got weird magic powers now, and some people actually have like straight up physical mutations, deformities even.
yeah, like the physics around them kind of change them to be like more like ogre-ish and like I don't know, like something like their hands expand to be like fucking massive or something. I don't know. They could do some weird stuff.
The disparity and the unfairness of the mutations, I think, are the reason there is conflict, like and why no one's in agreement about ultimately if it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you could always do things too, like, oh, more like social class structure where it's like, oh, the people with physical deformities don't know anything. They're like, don't know what they're talking about. And they were, you could do more religious aspect, be like, oh, God didn't choose them to be the chosen people to like rule this
Yep.
world, or stuff like that, you know? Um, there could be all kinds of different avenues you could go down with that. So,
Yeah, and then in the end of it all, turns out it was just Earth. Boom. Instant
dang.
class. I'm not a hack.
Everyone dies, and then at the end, you realize that the planet just ends up becoming Earth. Yeah, it's the prequel to Earth.
And then turns out the universe ends, and then wait a minute, it's actually the Big Bang.
They caused the Big Bang. Yeah,
All right, but back to topic. Interesting idea though. I do like the idea generally of a traveling mutating dwarf planet overall.
yeah. I think it's a really good start for kind of world that we want to look at. Um, so what do we want to talk about more in relation to like the world itself? Like, how physically is it shaped? Like, what kind of like landscape are you envisioning? Is it more like kind of a deserty planet, or like is
You
it
know,
more
you
like
did
Earth?
mention in the past you love desert planets, and I'm interested in the idea. I'm wondering, would all of it just be desert?
I kind of like the idea of having different biomes though too. Like I think it's
Hmm.
cool because it adds a different like layer to like who lives there. Like people from the desert survive in a different way that the people of like I don't
Hey,
know.
it's traveling too, so it's not. It's gonna have pretty often no sunlight, or maybe like kind of a weird day and night cycle because of that fact.
Varying landscapes every day or like every
Different, like like how about this? It's constantly. You like the idea of shifting like landscapes because it's traveling constantly, entering different gravitational fields and like planets. It's constantly being eroded and changed and shifting.
yeah, I kind of thought that too. Like a world's that's just never the same and everyone has to keep adapting to this new world. Maybe
It's a
they
desert one age, and then the next it's an ocean.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe an idea I just thought of is like they kind of live like underground because of how the surface keeps changing and like it keeps getting
Maybe
different.
surface societies change, underground society remains a constant,
Yeah, and maybe
and
they
that's a
like
mystery, and maybe like like feared part of the religion of surface like tribes and stuff.
yeah, like the two like different people, the people of the surface and the people underground are kind of viewing each other in a different kind of social ladder where
I was thinking of way more distance, where like the underground people remain distant and they don't interact at all, so they're mythologized, but or they're part of like a mythology of the surface people. Like
yeah.
they see remnants and like evidence of their existence.
So they don't know that they actually exist. They just know like they've seen like I don't know. They just seen some kind of evidence in like caves or like different
Cleared
areas,
out buildings, expeditions up there, stuff like that,
old
maybe.
tools maybe or something like yeah, like some archaeology stuff that they're like, what is this? This must be
And it
from
plays a
these
factor
people.
into like the mystery of their condition. They think it's like the reason they're mutating or part of that.
Yeah. Okay. So then yeah, then they are like, we need to figure out more about these people. Like, what are they doing down there? But then the surface is just chaotic. It's like constant like maybe not like every day, but more like every like month or so. Like the landscape just kind of changes. Like you just have random like torrential floods that create like huge lakes and oceans or something, or like yeah, just like varying events that are happening all over the planet constantly. It'd be an interesting way to change it up.
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Do we want to talk more
I,
about like the people themselves then? Do we want to talk like the civilization on the surface more?
sure. Yeah, let's talk. It's constantly changing too. So, do we want to talk maybe about the civilization that's constant then, the one below?
Yeah, we can start with them. Like, so do you imagine more like a more religious kind of civilization down there? Like, they have like a very strong belief in like
Yeah,
some
maybe,
kind of
yeah, like kind of
god.
a homeworld situation. Maybe they think their solution is a religious one, or like the reason behind their strange conditions, their mutations and stuff, is ultimately still a misdirection from the traveling mutating planet. But maybe there is something a little bit to their madness too, where they have some parts right of events that happened in the past that could explain the weird conditions that set off the planet heading off the universe.
You mean like some evidence of like why the planet is moving towards the edge of the universe?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just maybe nothing like direct, like no human involvement. Just like I was thinking it would just be evidence of a catastrophe that got kind of lost in translation,
Okay, so yeah, some
like
kind
a
of
great flood or something that was actually just like an asteroid or something
yeah.
like
So
that, or an
they
asteroid that was.
misinterpret an event that they think is something else, but it's what actually caused the planet to start moving that way. Like they feel
Yeah.
like I don't know a big like earthquake or something, and they think it's like their god like trying to communicate or something. I don't know, like some kind
Mhm.
of booming voice from the god caused the world to shake. But what really happened was a large meteorite slammed into the planet and started forcing it towards the edge of the galaxy or the universe, and they're interpreting it that it's some kind of religious event that happened. And then whoever from the top surface world comes to, if they ever visit the lower world, they're trying to like understand what that could possibly be, and maybe there's like an impact site or something, and they're like,
I like, you know what? I'm thinking the civilization below is a way more advanced because it has time to like set roots and it's not affected by like the constant changing conditions above. So they look almost like scientific
so
and like
oh, that came up with an idea there. Like, what if the like surface people are more nomadic? Like, because of
yeah,
the
yeah.
constantly changing world, they're more nomadic
There's a
people.
I'm thinking yeah. There's like the tribes that do like set down and roots get like swept over and are in ruins, but there is a surviving civilization that's constant
Yeah.
above too.
So the people on the surface, like, they struggle to like establish larger settlements, but there are some settlements around the world where they like have set up camp, but there's like not like massive city or anything, and there's a lot of nomadic
Ooh,
people, so
yeah.
they're just constantly moving, trying to find new
How are they
food.
surviving?
I was thinking hunter gatherer probably, honestly, like
Is there like some sort of technology or benefit or mutation that allows them to survive despite the constant changing landscapes?
trying to think of something that could happen, like
I
I
was thinking
mean,
maybe a technology from below, like an airship or something.
what do you mean from below though? Because weren't these
The
separate people?
civilization below, like they're more advanced. It's like a creation of theirs that lets them observe what's going on above.
They use airships.
I was saying something along those lines. Just something that can survive and that's like that will weather storms or like hurricanes, desert, crap. You know.
I guess I was thinking more like if the people are underground, they wouldn't be even having those problems. Like they wouldn't even
True,
interact with the
true. I'm
hurricane.
saying this would be a scouting thing. This would be like this would be an extremity.
Oh, I guess didn't you say before that you kind of wanted them to be more like secluded, like kind of more mythological? So I
True.
guess
Yeah.
I kind of thought of it like, oh, they're not interacting at all with the people above, and they don't like
Oh,
come out of
good
their
point.
caves.
That is valid. Yeah, I was saying that was just evidence they tried at one point. They wouldn't do it often, if ever. It is kind of a weak. That is kind of betraying that theme. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
maybe cut that.
I get what you're saying though. Like maybe the people like tried to come onto the surface, but then they just couldn't, and they had like leftover remnants that the
Oh,
people on the surface actually found when they Like maybe they lived on the other side of the planet and they kind of, I don't know, shifted over to find onto a new continent or something, and they found these like remnants of people that had been there before, but they couldn't like figure out where they came from, but they were actually people underground.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking too. Remember how I told you about that volcano that went like into the dipped into the world below?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe there was a storm bad enough to create such a thing. Finally broke through even the world below, and
Maybe
that's
like
how like they were discovered.
a massive earthquake or something like rips open the ground, and like there's like a tunnel that it opens up to, like,
Yeah.
and you can enter it, and then it leads to this underground area where all these people are found. Are you saying that the event creates the like is what leads those people to going underground? Or are you saying that the people on the surface find the people underground through this event?
Could be both. Same time, honestly. I was envisioning like that might be the climax kind of like eh, that'd be the that'd be how any war or like conflict would start between the two.
Some kind of like massive event that like what did you say, like scares them into thinking they're being attacked or something?
I think that yeah, that kind of like that's the reason they chose to specifically stop investigating. That and my original thought was like they weren't really initially so like reclusive, but then a few bad experiences decided it's for the best to just completely bunker down and not go back up to the surface.
Okay. Yeah, so let's just say that there's these two different peoples. There's these surface people, and then
I mean, now I'm just making Code Geass, but it doesn't matter.
I mean, I guess do they have underground people in Code
That's
Geass?
how it started, dude.
I
They
don't
are the
remember that.
underground people.
Are they?
Yeah, that's why he's a digger. That's why he's
Oh,
drilling.
dude, you're talking about no, you're talking about
I
Gurren
said Code
Lagann. You
Geass.
said Code Geass. You're
Yeah.
talking about Gurren
Oh my
Lagann.
god.
I'm like,
Same
what are you
thing.
talking about? Everyone lives in Japan, or
Oh
not just Japan,
god,
but like,
cut that. Cut that. Yeah. Look, just all these mech shows just blend together to me.
yeah. Um, so yeah, let's say there's these people on the surface, and then
And it's so funny too. I was like correcting you too. All right, just go on.
yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, there's these two people. One of the people figure out some kind of way to get underground, and they have so many like traumatic like weather events on their side of the planet that they decide they have to go there because it's too dangerous to stay on the surface. So they all shift to live underground, and then this other civilization on the other side of the planet, maybe like an, I don't know, I have an idea, like an ocean dries up or something, and they can walk across it, and so they do, because their continent they're from is like dying, or like they're like losing a lot of food access and like water and whatnot. So they travel trying to look for better land, and they find this old area that these people used to live in, but till they went underground, and they find old remnants of like different little structures and like tools and like, I don't know, whatever else they left behind. And then they start
Yeah.
asking a lot of questions about the origin of the world and like why the world changes so much. And somehow it leads them to finding this access point to where they start like to like conflict with these people that live underground, who are more religious and like skeptical, and like don't, are more cautious and like don't know what the other surface people want, and like there could be some conflict there. And trying to think of like
I mean,
what
this
the
is kind
end
of
would
bordering
be.
on a plot too.
That is kind of getting more plotty. I was just
Yeah.
trying to think of like how these two like peoples interact and like what they would be doing
I
together.
mean, the point is that they could be tense, standoff, very much not cooperative.
Yeah, yeah. And then the surface people are more like exploratory, want to know more, or more inquisitive, but the people underground are also more advanced, scientific, and or not. I don't even know scientific. Like, I guess more
Maybe not.
advanced because they have roots. Because the other
I
people are
said
more nomadic.
scientific because they at least be a little bit industrialized just by being. I was imagining industrialized.
I see more
In,
established city, or like more established town, just because it's more consistent underground than it is above ground.
just
Like,
because they're able to weather, like they're able to actually survive.
yeah, the weather doesn't like
I
wipe
was
away
imagining it would
people.
just there'd be just at least once in a while a huge storm or flood or some massive like disaster because of the unstable conditions of the planet.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, let's try something else about the world then. We could probably look into doing more like I don't know, some kind of creatures that live here. Like we could do like, do you think more monster, like fantasy kind of, like a creature, like a dragon or like an ogre, or do you think more like, do you think this is more in the sci-fi realm where we're just gonna go with like, there's just like wondrous creatures, kind of like Avatar? You know how there's like all these weird like flying, I forgot what they're called, but the little banshee creatures that fly around. You could do more like that. Uh, just like different like life that you could find on this planet. Do you have any ideas for
Yeah.
something cool or unique?
Something unique. See, that's the problem I struggle with.
You can always do
I can
things
only come
that.
back to things that I really like, and that's not unique. That's all I can say.
Well, what's something you like? Let's see if we can change it into a way that makes it more unique. Do you have like a specific
Hmm.
creature that you think is like really cool design and like really cool like backstory or like information about them? Is there any like specific type of ability they have or like notable feature they have?
You know, I do like creatures that can. I do like creatures that have like mimicry abilities. Example of that is I- there was a creature in a book I read that could. Mm, I, I really am tempted to use an example we both know, but it's kind of out there. I was gonna say it's an SCP one that steals the people's voices, for example.
It's kind of like a Wendigo or something, right? Can't
A Wendigo, you
those?
know, I should have just said Wendigo. That is a much better example. Just something along those lines where it's a perfect copy, but it took the place of whatever its prey was.
I think that would also thematically fit with the world because the world's kind of always changing. So something that could mimic how other
Ooh, yeah,
creatures
that could be a
live
mutation. Yeah,
in
I like
order to
that.
survive sounds like an interesting idea. You could fit in with the rest of the world. So
Kind of
like,
some like sci-fi vampire thing.
yeah, some kind of sci-fi creature that it exists on this like dangerous mutations. I don't even know if that's a word. A planet with a lot of mutations and like weird like alter like physic altering things. It would have to survive by mimicking other creatures in order to adapt to whatever environment it's in. And maybe it's also like hunting like humans and stuff too, and that could be another reason why people went underground too, is just to avoid these like monsters that um, live on this planet that are trying to like attack these people and mimic abilities and stuff.
You know what? I mentioned it before, but we should just bring over the octo spiders from Rendezvous with Rama.
I don't even know what that is.
Get this, they're like these weird octopus spider creatures that are actually more intelligent than the average human.
It's like a
They communicate through wavelengths of light too.
what? How does that work?
I gotta find a picture of this. Hang on a minute. From
It's like a spider, you said?
yeah, the octo spider here.
It sounds like a Zelda villain or Zelda enemy, to be
Here you
honest.
go. Here you go. I sent you a picture.
Oh my god. It looks like a. It doesn't feel like an animal. It looks like a octopus with like a robot head on. I don't even know how to describe that
More
thing.
intelligent than you, by the way.
What is this from? This looks really old.
Rendezvous with Rama. This is a like a or a video game,
Oh,
but
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we could do something like that. So
yeah,
some
just
kind
throw them in there.
of, some kind of weird octopus thing that like communicates with light, and it's smarter than every single person.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great idea for a
I like
random
to think
creature.
like the answer of the setting is inside a weird creature like that just can't communicate with any human.
That's
Just
a
useless information.
yeah, for sure. Well, I think that we've come up with a lot of ideas. I think this is a good stopping point.
Yeah,
Uh,
we gotta.
we kind of went off on a lot of different
That
avenues.
was a strange tangent, but yeah, I was kind of feeling it out towards the end. I do
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
idea of like a constantly traveling and mutating place, though. I think there's something
yeah.
there.
I think that is a really cool idea. Like, I also like the idea of the edge of the galaxy playing a key role in that because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, who knows what happens when you reach that point? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, who's it
I
gonna
kind of like
affect?
it being a mystery, though. I'm not sure if I want to even provide a definitive answer,
Yeah, no, I think it's cool when you just don't like no one in the whole world knows like what happens when that happens, you
or
know?
if we're even heading towards something. If this is going to just keep going, and if the pace of mutations and change is going to change at all, or if it even is changing.
Yeah, yeah.
If there is a consistent pace.
There's so many different ways you can go with it.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, well, thanks everyone for watching. There are going to be more episodes out in the future, I'm sure. I don't know how long they'll be. Probably around the same length as this one. I had a couple ideas in mind, so we'll see where it goes from there. But thank you for watching, and have a good day.